Hello and welcome to another episode of Citadel Guard Adventures. This is Beriathan of the Citadel Guard of Gondor, and we are back at the entrance of the depths of the Mâkhda Khorbo, as we are already at the point in the storyline in which this raid takes place. I have already double checked, this is the actual entrance to the raid, even though the door is closed and we cannot activate a portal in here, but this is where you enter. So, since there is no discovery deed really, we can just launch the raid. We are just gonna enter, unlock the deeds, check if there is maybe a quest that we can pick inside, and take our time to get ready so that when we jump in with the raid, with the actual group, we can just run straight for it. So yeah, let us go and check this out. There is a quest. Okay. Let me see these then. After the confrontation in the Citadel of Winds, the ship bearing Azagath, Belondor, and Nakási, Reaper of the Waves, sails northwest into the shadow cast by the Mâkhda Khorbo. Pursuing the trio, you enter the depths of a long hidden cavern leading through dark, dank, twisting passages ending at an iron-wrought gate. Boy. The smells of the sea, iron, and ash assail you as you press deeper beneath the land and closer to the remnants of the temple ruins. The flooded docks. Oh boy. Okay, there we go. Tier 1 through 5. And some deeds for the bosses, it would seem. The evil below. Destroying nameless evils. Oh. The Sea Shadow's crew. It seems this is one of those fights in which you will get different enemies, so you will need to run the raid a couple times before you can complete this deed. The evil below, the evil within, ancient evil in the Mâkhda Khorbo. 200 of them. Okay. And there you go. Tier 1 through 5. That's it. Oh. Lots of virtue XP on this one. Oi. Almost 12,000 virtue XP in here? Cool. We have the quest. This is for... yeah. The advancement, I think. The woman looks at you anxiously. I know I ought not to be here. The kindred tore us away. I saw 3 of them though. They pulled their launches up on the shore and entered this tunnel with their crews. They went straight on ahead. I know I am not supposed to be here, but I know a bit about the temple. I used to work at docking here in my younger days. If you need to get deeper into the ruins, I can help you. If you can tell me the last room you entered, I can show you a shortcut through the nearby tunnels. This quest tracks your progress for the Tier 1 difficulty. While underway, it allows you to resume adventuring in the depths of Mâkhda Khorbo at the furthest checkpoint you have reached in each reset cycle. Any player with this quest underway can open the door to take hidden tunnels to the furthest checkpoint at progression. This quest will automatically reset on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Awesome. We're gonna take the quest anyway. And yeah. These doors will open as soon as we progress through the raid, but for the time being, this is the only place we can enter. Oh, you can see Azagath and the other guys in there. So yeah, we'll need to wait until I have a raid ready to run this, but we already have started this and we'll see how this ends. All right, so here we are ready to start the raid. This was a in run tier 2, I believe. So everyone is just getting their buffs ready, and there we go. Are we ready yet? I think we are.
We should not linger in this place longer than we must. We will unseal the underground river, restore the dock, and take a smaller ship to sea. Wait, did you hear something? I would applaud your persistence were it not vexing. Alas, you have spoiled years of planning and careful construction in a matter of weeks. Instead, let me welcome you to cannot see the light in the dark, but my calling lies deeper in Mâkhda Khorbo. Do not despair. My crew will tell me how to fight before the war. Come, Nakási and Belander. We have much to do. My crew is trying to see these interlopers become the latest sacrifice in this temple.
Oh, here is the start of the fight. First of all, sorry if all the buffing didn't let you hear properly what was going on, but I think you get the idea, right? Azagath is trying to get a ship to the sea, but they need to restore the docks in here. So he leaves his crew and his shade, as you have seen, to slow us down while they go on with their plans. What I can tell you about this fight, not much really, and to be honest, I think, well, you know, if you've been following the channel, these raid videos are not intended to be a strategy or a tutorial or a walkthrough of mechanics of any kind. It's just rather a way for people who can't raid or not able to get into full clear to see what happens and how that affects the story. So that's what all there is to it. To this video, don't expect a deep insight from my part, but basically what we need to do in here is defeat Azagath's crew. There is an order as to which one you need to defeat first. As you can see here, they mirror the players' classes. We have a minstrel, we have a hunter. This one I think we had a champion or like that, a melee guy, a guardian. There you go, there you see. So basically there is an order in which you need to do this stuff. For these and for Belander's fight, which are very similar in that regard. And you basically need to take care first of the minstrels, and then the hunters, and then the melee guys, if I remember correctly. There's really not much to this fight. Not even on tier 2, as we did it. Tier 1 is even easier, of course. So yeah, you just need to defeat the crew and then take care of Azagath's shade, as you can see in here. One strategy, of course, is trying to tank Azagath's shade away from the other members of the crew. But as you can see here, we ended up doing it all together. I was tanking. As you can see here, I am traded blue and I'm trying to hold aggro, but the other tank in this run in my king is better than me, so he managed to get all aggro on this fight. And it really is not that big of a deal on this first fight, at least on these lower tiers, to fight all enemies right next to each other. So yeah, there was not a lot of issue in here. You will see when we get to the second fight with the second boss, that is a fight where you need to split them up. But for this one, not so much. Sorry once again, well, this is the first time I think I have uploaded a video of me tanking the channel, and as a tank you need to really be careful of where you position yourself to not affect the rest of the group, but most of the times that position ends up being so close to the wall that you really can't see much. But there is not a lot of story development in here, just what you saw. Azagath is trying to slow us down. He has left with Belondor and Nakási. And we need to take care of these guys. We're trying to get to the sea. There's really not much to it, and as a matter of fact, there's really not much of a story for the raid. Some things that are not said, maybe implied, but to me at least, well, a lot of people as well, the raid fields have finished, and it might have something to do with the fact that it seems SSG lost some people while they were developing the Umbar expansion, and it affected some corners of development, such as the raid, which it seems was not as elaborated as they wished it to be, which is a shame. I guess we'll discuss more of that as we progress, but now we have some more story to check.
Take your crew. Breach the bulwarks across the docks. We must must flood your heart.
As you wish, Azagath. You are the sea shadow. Make haste to the bulwarks and bring them down.
Nakási, be safe. There is more yet to do.
Small wall of smoke there so that we cannot interrupt the drum.
See you on the other side.
Belander, take your crew within the temple. Do not let these interlopers breach the stairway. I must retrieve my prize from within Mâkhda Khorbo before we take to the sea.
We will see it done, Azagath. Let's move out, crew.
As for our pursuers, I believe they will find that the City of Blood and Ash is unwelcoming to outsiders.
Okay, so here we have a couple ad waves that we can take care of. So, again, not much to see here, but let's see if we can piece all these together as we see what's going on. So they are trying to unlock or restore the docks so that they can take a ship to the sea, and that is what Nakási is currently doing. Azagath, on the other hand, still needs to retrieve something from the temple, and Belondor is covering him. So, well, you'll see how the raid develops as we progress. But from what I understand, we go after Azagath, try and stop him from retrieving whatever it is he's looking for. But we, of course, need to take care of Belondor and his crew before we can do that. And after the fight with Belondor, we don't get a lot of information, and as far as I know, Azagath wouldn't have any more dialogues after this. But bottom line, after the fight with Belondor, we end up at the docks instead. So it seems Belondor was successful at slowing us down enough for Azagath to retrieve whatever he wanted inside the temple. And that's why we instead ended up at the docks trying to stop them. But since we didn't stop Nakási from destroying the bulwarks, they were able to escape on one of their ships at the docks, and then we were left to deal with the final boss. So it seems, yeah, we were just too slow at every single turn of events here.
Usually I admire that quality. Given that you are my pursuer, I find it disagreeable. Nevertheless, you'll not stop us here. We will end you. My crew and I will stop you here. You shall not ascend to face Lord Azagath. We will end your meddling here and now. It is best you retreat now while you can still walk. I would not advise crawling through the ruins of the Temple of Ash and Blood. But if you insist on pursuing your own demise, we will oblige.
Yeah, Belander is slowing us down.
Crew, form rank!
And as I was saying, it seems they were successful because after we faced Belondor, we stopped pursuing Azagath inside the temple and instead make haste for the dogs. So it seems we somehow ended up realizing that Azagath had retrieved what he was looking for and was making his way to the docks, but since we were slowed down by Belondor, by the time we got to the docks, they had already escaped. And of course, this wouldn't be a full raid video if I hadn't died at some point. I have recorded a couple of runs of the raid. I recorded one at tier 1, one at tier 2, and some extra footage. So my initial idea was to mix them all together and trying to get like the best angle, the best visuals from each one. But after reviewing the runs, I think this particular tier 2 run with a king went pretty well. As you can see here, I died a couple times, but not in the important moments that I can remember. So it's embarrassing, of course. It always is, but I always die. I still have a lot of room for improvement. I'm not going to let that worry me right now. The important thing is we need to take care of these ads. As far as I know, you need to take care of the crabs and the crocodiles. and then you take care of the coursers properly. Well, pirates, whatever these guys are. Makes sense, right? The crabs do apply so many nasty bleeds that you really need to take care of them as fast as you can. But once again, I'm not an expert on what's exactly the order at any point in this raid or on any fight. We thankfully have some inmates that do take care of that. And since I am not 20 PS, I really don't need to worry too much about the order and the target assist. As long as I can stay alive, which, as you can see here, I'm struggling with. And that is, once again, the nasty bleeds that these crabs apply. Which, God, if you let them pile up, 2 or 3 of them, that becomes almost too much. Even on tier 2, I cannot imagine how this would be in higher tiers. Because tier 2 is the furthest that I have gone so far. I would love to try a higher tier, of course, but I'm still not quite there yet. Still need a little bit more practice, a little bit more runs, but we'll see if I can make that happen before the end of this expansion cycle. As I understand, there are also some extra ads, some extra mechanics on tier 4 and 5. Oh, we completed one of the Slayer deeds, the Evil Within, or the Ancient Evil, I believe. Anyway, there are some extra ads and some extra mechanics on higher tiers. But to be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure if it's worth it to try and get there so that we can see what those mechanics are and try to record them, because as far as I know, they don't affect the story beyond what we can already see at lower tiers. So for the purpose of this video, it's a little bit superfluous. Anyway, we are here at the boss fight. So sorry for the cat there. We wiped a couple times, once or twice at this fight. This is the good one. Anyway, so here we're gonna fight Belondor and move on to the next stage of the raid. Let me check the deed we just completed. No? We're about to start. Yeah.
I commend you for your tenacity. Come forth. We will afford you a moment of rest. Compose yourself. Gather your crew quickly. Once the gate is closed, we will teach you about discipline.
Very kind of Belander to give us some time to get ready. Anyway, as you can see here, I do have a couple of tooltips for Belander and Salax, which is one of the ads, because this is a fight where you do need to split them up. Because if you let Belondor get too close to the other members of his crew, he will buff them up, and it will be harder to fight, if not possible. I'm going to be sure what kind of debuffs, or well, what kind of buffs he would give to his crew. So you need to take him away. And I also, well, the strategy for us is to also take Salax, which is one of the melee guys, to make things a little bit easier for the rest of the raid as they fight the other members of the crew, because Belondor has 2 of each. He has 2 minstrels, 2 hunters, and 2 melee guys. And the order is still the same. You defeat first the minstrels, the healers, then the hunters, then the melee guys, and then you go with Belondor. Of course, there are more guys this time around, so the fight is more complex. There are some guys that you need to keep interrupting. One of them will summon some very nasty ads. Others will apply some debuffs as well. So you really need to have a dedicated interrupter for each one of those crew members. And you also gotta keep an eye out on their induction bars, of course, so that you can interrupt them. There are some uninterruptible skills as well, if I remember correctly. So yeah, you gotta keep in mind all of that. But other than that, the first half of this fight is very straightforward. You just go by the target order, and after you are done with the ads, then you move to Belondor. When the raid finishes with all the ads there on the other side of the room, we split Belondor and Salax, but that is just so that we can position Belondor on a better spot for the second phase of this fight, and so that if I reading this correctly, so that Salax is also involved. Or is the crew buffing Belander? I don't remember which one buffs who, but the bottom line, you need to split them up. And when you only have Belander and Salax to go, you split those two as well. But it's just so that you can get in a better position for the second phase of the fight. Which, we're almost there, I believe. I don't know, there are two of each, Minstrels, Hunters, and Melee guys, but I don't remember their names. For the life of me, I have never been able to remember those names. But as you can see here, Belondor has already been taunted by the second tank and moved into position, and now the rest of the raid is taking care of Salax. So yeah, we were really close. Yeah, we just need to take care of this guy. I'm sorry if the screen feels a little bit louder right now, because of course I'm getting a lot of heals and some damage as well. It might be a little bit overwhelming, I don't know. Because you do need to pay attention to all these. As a matter of fact, I have another UI layout for this. Let me talk to you about that later. Your crew fails you, Belander. I do not invite failure. I will, however, offer my assistance. You will serve me better in death than they served you in life. So Azagath raises the shades of Belonder's crew. And that is the tipping point for Belander. Is the drop that spills the cup, so to speak. But now we focus only on Belondor, because Belondor is buffing the shades. And as far as I understand, there's no way for you to defeat the shades. So you just need to manage them while taking care of Belondor and defeating him. But of course, they will apply a lot of debuffs. You need to manage that as well. And Belondor, who is a Warden, such as myself, will also apply a lot of nasty debuffs that you need to take care of. Especially fears, such as this one that I've gotten right now. It's great if you have a group debuff cleanser. If not, then you need to use your pods. And there I go. Of course. But thankfully there was a res available, and we were almost done with Belander anyway.
To the city and face my penance. Azagath, pay by my hand. Take what treasures you will from the temple.
There we go. So that is Belander taken care of. As I said, it seems that Azagath was able to escape. We have some cool loot, maybe. I don't remember if this was a tier 1 or tier 2, to be honest with you. Maybe it was a tier 1. Anyway, now we stop pursuing Azagath through the temple and instead make our way for the docks. That is the wrong door, as you can imagine. Is that door instead. And this is the place for boss 3. We did also need a couple of tries for this boss. So let me cut to the moment, or well, to the attempt, the successful attempt. We'll see the end of the raid. Alright, here we are ready for the boss fight. As told you before, so waiting for the other kin members to be ready. And we'll be going. See this boss in just a moment. Go. And there she, I guess it's a she, rises up. That is Umshûra, which, as you can see here, is a squid-like monster. It's a watcher-like monster, we can say. with the tentacles and everything. But I am on ad duty, so I need to grab all these crabs and crocodiles and well, don't let them hit me while the raid finishes them off. You also need to defeat some of her tentacles, and then she will try to crush some of the ships here at the docks. And well, you will have a timer to stop her from destroying the ships, but that timer will only start after you engage the tentacle in battle, so you have some leeway in there. But for now, just running around a little bit, trying to avoid as many of these traps as possible, because those bleeds are really nasty and there are a lot of these guys in here. But now that the raid has taken care of some of these tentacles, now they will help with the ads, and afterwards we'll move to stop Umshûra from destroying the tentacles. Now, this is one of these occasions in, well, these instances which it seems that we missed something. There is some portion of the raid that's missing some complementary information, because I hadn't made that connection before. I think I read it on Reddit or Discord, I don't remember where, but basically Umshûra is the creature that rescues Gondor in the Shield Isles. You will remember Gondor talking about the creature that saved him. And then inside the city we'll get more information about the Avashal, and it seems that Avashal, that sea opal, is found on Umshûra's skin. So, but all that, it's something that you need to figure out by watching who this boss is, remembering what Gondor told you, and then when you start getting your raid set, you will see that those raid sets have an Avashal, so that connection is established in there. And you will see there is also another sort of side quest from the epic that we'll get in, I think it's in next episode, where it kind of expands a little bit on Umshûra without stating it explicitly. So there are a lot of moments like this in the raid where you feel like they run short on time, so they could only provide us with the fight and the mechanics, but parts of the story were left out because of the constraints and the issues that we mentioned before. Anyway, every time you defeat a tentacle and free one of the boats, the boat will damage Umshûra, and that's when you can damage her head. You need to do that a couple times, 3 or 4 times. And every time Umshûra goes down, the tentacles go back up. You need to defeat these slapping tentacles. The ads will also respawn after defeating some of these tentacles. So, as the tank responsible of the ads, I really need to be really careful of grabbing them all. And, well, staying alive while the king takes care of their tentacle duties and are able to come and help me with the ads. If I remember correctly, you need to defeat the 2 slapping tentacles for the ads to respawn. At the very start of the fight, they will spawn alongside the tentacles. That's one of the most stressful moments. But then they will spawn after the king takes care of the slapping tentacles. Here they come, and there we go. So we just grab the ads. Now that the king doesn't need to worry about the slapping tentacles, this ad phase is a little bit faster, and then we'll go back to saving the boats, rinse and repeat until we get to the next phase of the fight. So in the meantime, and before I forget, something that I was also mentioning on the Belander fight but was cut short by the story, I was mentioning how I have a secondary UI layout for raiding and grouping. But that layout moves a lot of the elements to the center of the screen to have all be grouped together in one spot, so you can keep better track of your vitals and your debuffs and your buffs and everything you need to take care of. So that can clutter the center of the screen a little bit. So I'm not using that layout in here so that you can better see what's going on. Maybe at some point I will record a raid or something using that layout. It would be really nice. And that way you can also tell me which one of those two you prefer for regular questing and for the raid videos as well. I do mention this in one of the future episodes as well. I recorded the entirety of Book 8. And as you can imagine, I am providing the commentary for this particular video after I recorded everything else, when I could save some time to do so. So we have this sort of back and forth of me mentioning what's to come and what came before, but I hope you don't mind. Anyway, we are on a new stage of damaging Umshûra's head. You need to do this 3 times before you are done with the boats. We are on the second one. Like every 25% of her health, you need to damage her with the boats so that you can damage her head. And the last batch, the last quarter of her health, will be a different mechanic. But for the time being, we are just repeating what we have already done, taking care of the slapping tentacles, then the adds, then the crushing tentacles so that we can free one of the boats, damage Umshûra so that we can attack her head. We need to do that 3 times. Afterwards, things... I don't remember exactly what happened at the end of this fight. On the second phase, so to speak, which is a little bit different from what you have already seen. I don't remember if I died. We'll need to wait and see. Now, we are also taking care of the sturdy tentacles because they get buffed up and they stay buffed up if you don't defeat them. If you defeat them, they will respawn, but with no buffs. So every once in a while, it's advisable for you to take care of these sturdy tentacles, because if you let them get too buffed up, the fight will of course get more difficult, and you don't want that. So what we're doing here is taking care of the sturdy tentacles before defeating the last slapping tentacle, because the moment you defeat the second slapping tentacle, the adds will respawn, so you don't want to be dealing with adds and sturdy tentacles at the same time. So it's just a matter of establishing a priority for your targets. For all my talk about me not remembering the mechanics and not providing a lot of info, I find that I remember more than I initially thought I would. So they are crushing the ship. Here we have the adds. Let's grab the adds. Boy, this is a long fight, but it's just for the fact that there are many things to do. And I have seen a lot of, if not most, all the player base complain a little bit about this fight being too long for how complex it is. Like, it's such a simple fight, it shouldn't really be this long. I have seen some suggestions of having only 1 or 2 crushing tentacles instead of 3. I mean, it could work, but I think that would require a lot of fine-tuning on the raid, and with how spread the developer team is right now, I don't see them making radical changes to this fight, for the time being at least. So if you ask me, we will be sticking with 3 crushing tentacles, and then the last phase where you just need to take care of Umshûra herself. As you can see here, this fight does make use of the fellowship maneuvers quite extensively. You need to use those maneuvers every time you are fighting a crushing tentacle so that you can finish fighting them. It will not go down if you don't use a fellowship maneuver, and the same thing will happen with Umshûra now. Both damaged and weakened Umshûra, there we go. This is the second stage of the fight. You don't need to worry about crushing tentacles anymore. You just need to fight Umshûra. Every once in a while, she, I think, will go underwater and become invulnerable to damage. So you need to use a fellowship maneuver to be able to damage her again. You will have a small, well, a short-term window to damage her again before all that happens. So you basically just need to keep using fellowship maneuvers on her every once in a while to be able to continue damaging her head. Now, crushing tentacles are gone, but as far as I know, slapping tentacles are still here, and adds are still here. So, I'm still on ad duty. We'll take care of those slapping tentacles, and then these ads will show up again. Trying not to move too far away from the spawning location of the ads, because I think that's what did us in on our first attempt. And it was my first or my second time doing the raid, tanking the raid. Yeah, here we have the ads. I don't remember why it took me so long to aggro them. Of course, the raid got hurt by that, but we recovered. But I think I was trying to get aggro on one of those sweeping tentacles, something that you also need to do. Oh god, one of our tanks, well, our second tank went down, so you see me here trying to grab aggro and everything while it gets back up, and back up to speed. Oh, he's down again. So yeah, this doesn't really look that good. Things could have been a lot better for the raid, but in the end we did manage to pull this off. Of course, I'm aware part of the issue here was me not managing these ads when I should have, which really doesn't let me leaves me on a good position, and don't come out of this looking particularly good. But at least the king is good enough that they can make up for my mistakes. I think we were able to recover quite good. We had a lot of people down, and now we are only 2 down. And as soon as we are done with these ads, I think the fight is done. And as soon as the crops go down, these ads become so much more manageable. We only need to worry about Umshûra now. I think this is a moment where we will hit her with everything we got. The Oathbreakers. I don't remember if I used Desperate Combat for this, but you can use Desperate Spear to increase her incoming damage a little bit. We are 1 or 2 cycles away from defeating her. And we are also doing some of these 30 tentacles. I guess we're taking care of the 30 tentacles first, so that when we can finally go back to Umshûra, we can hit her with everything we've got. That also gives some extra time for the cooldowns, so that we can rest at least the Cappy, because we will need Oathbreakers. I don't know, I am speculating at this point. I don't remember exactly how this fight ended. But we did good. We pulled it off once again. Yeah, here we have the second sturdy tentacle. Yeah, there we go. The Cappy is back up. Well, I was right on my appreciation. Taking care of the sturdy tentacles to make to get rid of them so that we can keep them sure with everything we've got, and also making time so that we can rest the Cappy. Yeah, because yeah, we didn't have Mariner or Thangorodrim, so it was all running on Oathbreakers, I believe. Maybe Murder of Crows, I believe, as well. I don't remember exactly how we hit it, but we hit her good. in time while we get the fellowship maneuver going and open her up for damage. The Oathbreaker's up. Yeah, there goes the fellowship maneuver. She's hoping for damage, so here we go. Those breakers are in, if I believe. And yeah, I'm using a desperate spear to increase her incoming damage. At this point, you only need one tank for the hit, so I'm not doing anything. I cannot add a lot of damage to the group on my own, but I can do desperate spear to help a little bit. But yeah, this fight does take a while. You maybe don't feel it the first couple of times, but this one does take a while, because this second phase where you are only dealing with the head, now that all the boats are unnecessary, this one does drag for a while. Waiting for a second maneuver. I believe, I mean, she's going down. Okay, we're getting a res for our other runekeeper. The raid is all back up. We have sent another fellowship maneuver right on time. So I can... am I gonna use the Spirit Spear again, or didn't I realize I could do it? I think I'm just hitting her with all my dots. Because once again, it's maybe not the biggest damage output, but I'm doing all I can to make sure the raid is... that I am adding as much damage as possible, basically, because our other Kini is taking care of tanking. So close, we're almost done, but yeah. It does drag a little while you wait for your fellowship maneuvers to be back up and all your cooldowns. I get it why some people are asking for a change in this one. But again, I don't see that happening anytime soon. Now, okay, there goes the other fellowship maneuver. And there I go with Desperate Spear again. So yeah, we're hitting her with everything we've got. And I think this is gonna be it. This is gonna be the end of the fight. Go! Completed it. Ah, it was a tier 1. My bad. It was a tier 1. The death of Mâkhda Khorbo tier 1. Umshûra sinks into the dark water. Undefeated. I know, defeated. She is defeated, but not slain. So who knows if we'll get another confrontation with her in the future. Anyway, got the boots, so that's great. I would love to get the full tanking set because the set bonuses are really good, if you ask me. So my bad, it was not a tier 2, it was a tier 1. Anyway, we got the fight down, and that was basically it. So once again, to recap, Azagath wanted to retrieve some artifact from the temple, it seems, and Belander was just slowing us down. Since we were focusing on Belander trying to reach Azagath, Nakási was able to restore the dogs, and that in turn gave the chance that Azagath needed to escape. So Azagath and Nakási escaped. Belondor deflected from Azagath's command after what happened to his crew. And then we came trying to stop Azagath, but they were already gone. And instead we were left with Umshûra and we had to take care of her. If you ask me, that's what happened in the raid. But once again, there were some elements that were not explicitly given to us. So it's just how you are able to interpret things, but that's like the basics of what happened, and we'll see the aftermath of Belonder's resentment in just a while, but I don't want to get too ahead of myself. What matters is that we were able to complete the raid, and with these we are ready to move on to the next steps of chapter 9 of the Songs of Waves and Wind. So that's it for today's episode, but join me next time as we'll continue moving on to advancing the story, basically. For the time being, though, this has been all on today's episode of Citadel Guard Adventures. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you on the next one. Until then, my friends, stay safe, take care, good luck to you all, and I will see you later.